It's a rainy, dreary day out here today. That means it's time to get back to work on the tractor. I have neglected to work on this thing for a little bit for a couple different reasons. We were doing hay and getting that in the barn and put away and baled and so on and so forth. We just had other things going on, so it's time we jump back on this, and I really want to have this done before corn harvest, which is coming fast, and before fall winter wheat planting. The first thing I know I have to jump onto first is getting this tire pumped up before it damages anything. This one leaks a little bit, so I need to pump this back up, and all the weight is sitting on this side too, so that just makes sense, but it's starting to crack the sidewall, so before it gets too bad, I need to pump that up. That's good for now. I'm gonna have to obviously pump everything back up and adjust pressures once we get this taken care of. The center and everything is loose from this wheel, so I could take all this off and pop it off, but just in case, and I do have it blocked up, so it's not a huge deal, but it's only on a jack stand, so I'm just letting this on here in case something does move. It's not gonna go far. In the last video, if you missed that, we changed the radiator. Got that all put and fastened in, put all the hoses on. We did not fill it with coolant yet, so we do need to do that. And we also put some Permatex on this gasket here. Hopefully that solves the problem. I have not done anything with this since then, so hopefully nothing leaks and we're good to go. First thing I think we're gonna start to do is I'm gonna fill this thing with coolant, and hopefully the battery's not dead. I'm gonna fire this up and let you guys hear how it sounds since the timing was adjusted, because obviously you heard it when it was still running rough. Radiator's full. We're gonna fire it up, barring that the battery is not dead. This should be a step in the right direction. New radiator, and I shouldn't say new gasket, but we sealed around the gasket, so hopefully everything with this stuff that was problematic should be solved. We'll find out if the battery's dead. Love it. Cool. I'm thinking we may end up having to tweak the carburetor just a little bit, but at this point I think we can continue on putting stuff back together, putting all the body panels back on there. I think we can go ahead and do that and get this thing out of here as fast as possible, and I think we're in the right direction now. I really need to get started on this tire swapping process. This is the tire that I do have. I have another one over there, but I think this one's probably in better shape. The rim is just shot on this one completely. It's just the tube sticking out there. This is what calcium does to wheels. So I need to try and get the tire off of this rim and put on this rim. Doing this for a long time. Now, I didn't go the quickest, but it wasn't terrible. Honestly, this went a lot easier than I kind of was anticipating, and that's kind of why I was dreading it, because I've changed a lot of tires in my day, but never anything this big. Never a tractor tire, or anything for that matter, this big. The only tractor tire really changed was that one on the John Deere, so this was definitely a new realm, but it worked out pretty well. And this rim, as you can see, is completely shot. Might make a nice fire pit for somebody, but it's no good for a tractor wheel anymore. Overall, the tire's in pretty good shape. It's a little cracky here and there. Right in here might be some cracks, but otherwise not too bad. The inside looks really nice. There is a lot of rust junk that I do have to get out of there, so we'll clean everything up. We really got to clean the beads and everything here. That tube is still full of liquid, so I'm not even going to bother with that. And besides, the valve stem on that was junk too. So this would have been 10 times easier if it were mounted on the tractor to pop it off the rim. I had to fight with it and prop it up on stuff here, so that's kind of one of them things. But I wasn't about to try and mount it on the tractor just to do that. That's just kind of one more step that I didn't really have to do. It would have made it easier, but I would have had to take this one off, which I have to take off anyway. But before I do that, I'm going to let that one on there. Now I need to get the new rim prepped. I need to order a tube, and we're going to be well on our way. Once we get that, that's pretty much the biggest thing and hardest thing left to do on this tractor. We obviously have to get all the side panels. I want to get some new bolts for the fuel tank there, because those are really no good. The nuts on them are junk. And then we got to drain all the fluids in the rear end, transmission, all that stuff, and then we'll put new there. Otherwise, we got fresh engine oil obviously cooling in there. So, and we got to wire everything up. Today I'm going to try and get some of this wiring buttoned up, get some of this cleaned up in here, fastened. I got the fuel gauge wiring kind of in place for that. I got some new bolts for the fuel tank, and I want to work on getting all this wiring cleaned up, get our lights hooked in, and just get all this stuff to where we can start assembling the body panels, put the dash back in, put that together. And I took the battery out, so we'll have to put that back in, but I needed to reroute the cables because I just had them routed on the outside just so we could test everything. So I got it mostly cleaned up. There is some wiring I still have to do, cut some wires and attach them, ground some things. And obviously we have to run all the wires for all the lights. These are going to be the easiest. This one's going to be the hardest, but I do have a thought for that one. I didn't get as much done as I would have liked to tonight, But I did manage to clean up some of this wiring, and we got the dash mounted. It's slow and tedious. I started running wires for the lights, so I think tomorrow I need to get a new fuse holder. This one's junk. The other wire is actually missing, so I'll get that stuff. Then I think we can clean this up a lot better, and then I will probably jump on trying to remove this, and then we have to get cleaning up the new rim, or I guess old new, whatever you want to call it. But it's getting there, it's coming along. I started running wires for all the lights. I'm not entirely impressed with how I did it, but because of putting a light here in the fender, I didn't really have the best place to go for these wires here, so it kind of looks a little crappy that way, but it is what it is. I really just didn't have the best option. I drilled a hole in here, ran it through, and then these will obviously be pulled through there, so I already have some black wire hanging here, so you're not getting on from the front, so what difference does it make? I thought about running it from the rear, running it down right through here, down and across all this stuff, and then up through and channeling, following the hydraulic lines. But again, then you've seen all this spider web of wire running down here, and I didn't have a very good area to fasten it there either. So that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing. If these were completely top fenders, flat top fenders, you'd never even see that wire anyway, but because of them being clamshells, it's just kind of the nature of the beast. So I have all my wires ran for the most part. I do need to run a positive from this light and a positive from that light yet. And I have our fuse holder tied in here. And then we have our grounds. So that's pretty much what we're working on at this point. So once I get all the lights wired in, then I can set the battery back in here. I will have to polarize the generator again since we disconnected everything. And then I think we're done with wiring, or at least we should be. Wiring should be complete. Ran everything up here, tucked it underneath. A little bit of a mess going on under here, but I did want some extra wires just in case we had to change something or something happened down the road. I need to get a smaller fuse than what's in here, but that'll work for now to at least test everything. So let's flip the switch. Well, that one's on. That one's on. And that one's on. So this one kind of shines back, and the further out it goes, the further that way it's going to go, but probably about the center of the tractor. The ones in the front are pretty good, I would say. We might just have to angle this one a touch. Get it over that way a little more. The lights work, that's good. Wiring's done, battery's in. I do need to polarize the generator again since we disconnected everything. And I need to actually, like I said, replace that fuse. I want to jump on getting this off. I do have the center loose, so I just have to take off all those nuts around, and then we should be able to pop the clamps and then pop this entire wheel and tire off, and then just have the center. Check that out. I'd say we're gonna wanna probably replace that. Now I get to try and roll it out the doorway without dropping it. I'm glad that's done. Like I said, this wheel's no good. It still has quite a bit of calcium in there. And a huge tire. This is a 15.5, I believe. And then we're gonna be going to a 13.6, which is what's on the other side. This tire has a lot of tread on it yet. It's in pretty good shape. So it should match that side pretty close. Obviously the tread's gonna be a little bit different. I'm pretty certain I'm gonna end up having to replace these bolts because that one for sure just did not look good. And if you're gonna replace one, you might as well replace all of them. So that's kind of where we're at. I'll have to look into those. And now I need to prep the new wheel, but that's in a lot better shape. We're not putting calcium in, so I'm glad for that. And we wouldn't anyway, we'd put like antifreeze or something. So I'm not gonna be filling these at all because I'm not too worried about it. I'm just kind of glad that's off, that's out of the way. Now we can work on getting the new wheel prepped, ready, painted. We'll get that thrown on before the tire or anything because I think it's gonna be a lot easier. And then we'll probably throw the tube and the tire on once it's on the center. I don't know. The more I think about it, I don't know if that's how I want to do it or not, just for the simple fact that I'm going to be really prying on this a lot and I don't really want to knock it off of the jack. So I'm not sure. I might look into that, might kind of change something up here. That way it can't fall, but we'll worry about that when we cross that bridge. So that's going to conclude today's video. I feel like we did get a lot accomplished, filling it with coolant, getting that other tire off, and did all the wiring, got the lights, and we test fired it. So we are getting very, very close, very, very fast. We're in the home stretch. I feel like we can see daylight at the end of the tunnel. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a long series. It's been a long, almost year that we've had this thing in here, but we are getting very close to getting it out. I hope you have a great day. Stay tuned for the next episode on this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I'll see you next time.